I know it's annoying, guys, but forgot to say at the intro of the video, y'all have to leave a like on this video. I'm getting y'all 2 a day, and yeah, like I said, if we keep on passing that 100 like mark on each video, I'm going to be able to continue to get y'all 2 videos every single day, and the YouTube algorithm is going to continue to promote the channel. If we don't hit that mark, then I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go back to 1 video a day just because of the algorithm, but thanks, guys.
That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, I'm going to break down a real Dynasty rookie draft for y'all. This happened right after the NFL draft, so it was instant reactions. I know maybe things may look a little bit different now that we've had a chance to sit here and think about it, but we run all of our flock leagues where the draft starts actually day 1, right after the NFL draft kicks off. I think I set the timer at 8 p.m. Eastern. That way, really, the first 2 picks have to be in before day 2 starts. Creates a really interesting dynamic, and really you have to stick to your pre-draft evaluations and try to hit on these guys. And yeah, love how this draft turned out. We're going to jump right into it. If you want to get in a Dynasty rookie draft, if you want to get in a Dynasty startup draft, make sure you go down, join the Discord below. We're going to have a ton of opportunities for you to join through there, and at the same time in that Discord chat, even if you don't want to play in a Dynasty league and you already have yours, I'm going to be posting all of our rookie drafts there. That way you have a large sample and you can really look at, hey, I have the 109. What players am I going to be looking at? And you can try to plan around your rookie draft, because I know this time of year there are going to be a ton of mock drafts, a ton of websites providing ADP data. But guys, I'm not going to lie to you, that ADP data tends to be useless. People don't really, if you're drafting a rookie draft and you don't have a real team, I mean, you're just taking whatever guy you want. I mean, it's not really relevant. This is important because players who are taking these rookies actually have a real roster, so it shows you a way more accurate representation of how your rookie draft is going to go. But let's jump into it. And at the 101, keep in mind, this happened before day 2. We see Clyde Edwards-Helaire go off the board. I love the pick. This is actually my 101. I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire just sneaks by Jonathan Taylor for the first overall spot. At the second spot, Jonathan Taylor comes off the board. Clear 102, in my opinion, lands with the perfect team to match his skill set with a great offensive line. Now, 103, we see Joe Burrow go off the board. Now, Joe Burrow can go in any of the top 4 picks, in my opinion, in a Dynasty Superflex League, really just depending on team needs and the overall QB market in that individual league, because I know it varies widely from Superflex to Superflex League. And yes, this is a Superflex rookie draft, but I mean, if you're in a 1 quarterback league, this is still completely relevant. All you have to do is cross off the quarterbacks because they aren't going to go until extremely late. And honestly, in a 1 quarterback league, you shouldn't even be bothering drafting these rookie quarterbacks because they're not going to be able to provide you value with an immediate return. Now, at the 104, this is before day 2 of the NFL draft. I'm looking at Deandre Swift, who was my 101 pre-draft, and I'm like, oh, I got to trade up and get him here. I thought he was going to go at the end of round 1 to Miami, but they ended up passing on him, so I traded up to get Deandre Swift, and we saw how that worked out. He lands in Detroit. I think the landing spot pushes him down the board past J.K. Dobbins for me. I'd rather have J.K. Dobbins ahead of Deandre Swift now, but still great running back just in a average situation. Now, at the 105, we see Tua Tagovailoa go off the board. And keep in mind, this is before day 2 of the NFL draft. So, really standard pick here, right before J.K. Dobbins, who goes off of the 106. I believe that J.K. Dobbins is going to be more of that 104 range, 105, with Tua Tagovailoa. And they're going to be in their own little tier. But Deandre Swift is going to fall to the bottom of that tier. Now, at the 107, we see Cam Akers go off the board. Love Cam Akers' landing spot. I think this is great value for him here. And what's fantastic about this draft, and I think it's very sharp and very accurate, is that all 5 running backs go off the board before we see the first wide receiver, which I think you have to do. Now, at the 108, we see Justin Herbert, which I completely agree with. I think this is the reason I chose this rookie draft, because it was so accurate, and I think that people did a fantastic job going out and getting their guys in the correct order. Now, at the 109, I'm sitting here at this pick. I'm looking wide receiver because obviously we have the top 5 running backs off the board and we have the top quarterbacks off the board. So I'm thinking, it's a coin flip at this point. I've gone Jerry Jeudy in some leagues. I've gone CeeDee Lamb in some leagues. And honestly, this league is a best ball league, so it's a little bit different where you want those spike weeks. So I can understand the thought process of going after a Henry Ruggs whenever he's going to have his blow-up weeks. But I ended up settling in on Jerry Jeudy at 109. This is before the Denver Broncos took KJ Hamler in the second round. After that selection, I think Jerry Jeudy's going to slide down my board maybe just one spot, and I may have CeeDee Lamb comfortably ahead of Jerry Jeudy. But 110, we see Henry Ruggs go off the board. Fantastic pick. Like I said, this is a best ball league, so you're going to get Henry Ruggs spike weeks. 111, CeeDee Lamb. 112, Jalen Reagor. 201, Justin Jefferson. This rounds out the tier 1 of wide receivers for me. Obviously, I'm going to have my own rankings. Y'all seen these rankings that posted in the video a couple days ago, but I cannot argue with anyone wanting to rank any of these wide receivers ahead of each other, but I think this is the clear tier. I think the tier is Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson. You can pick those guys in whatever order you want, but it's definitely the correct move to have them 109 through 201. Now, at the 202, we see Brandon Ayuk go off the board, which I don't know what to do with Brandon Ayuk. Yes, he was a day 1 wide receiver. Yes, he looks like he's pro ready, but he lands in a situation where it's going to be very hard for him to reach any kind of a ceiling with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle there. So Brandon Ayuk, I think I'm going to have him behind T. Higgins, who goes at the 203, just because I can see T. Higgins one day being the man in Cincinnati. He's going to be the A.J. Green replacement. I think Tyler Boyd is still going to get his targets in the slot because T. Higgins is a different type of wide receiver than Tyler Boyd. But 204, Laviska Shenault. Love Laviska Shenault going in the early second round to Jacksonville. A lot of available targets there and great capital to a great prospect profile. Laviska Shenault's kind of like that do-it-all guy. He can actually line up in the backfield. So really love the upside of Shenault there. 205, Keyshawn Vaughn. I think Keyshawn Vaughn's actually going to go a little bit higher than this in most Dynasty rookie drafts, just because I don't think most leagues are going to be smart enough to realize that they should be taking about 10 wide receivers straight from the 109 to the 204. So I think Keyshawn Vaughn's going to slide up a little bit into that wide receiver 2 tier, but I think it's accurate him going here at the 205 because he's not a full-time player. I think he's going to split that backfield with Ronald Jones. I talked about that more in my Dynasty Rookie Draft rankings video, but Keyshawn Vaughn, 205, good value there. 206, Denzel Mims, and 207, Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman, I love the value at 207. 206, Denzel Mims, I don't really like the landing spot. I know he's going to be able to play on the outside, and Jamison Crowder is going to work the slot for that team. But at the same time, Sam Darnold looks very promising, but I think the offense is capped with Adam Gase there. We know Adam Gase loves to slow the pace of the game down, doesn't like to run that many plays, and that's not what you want to see for a fantasy perspective. Now here, I'm sitting at the 208, and this is a guy that I said I was not going to draft any of before the NFL draft, but he slides here, and he lands at a great spot with the Green Bay Packers. I think that Green Bay is going to really implement A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones in a committee, and they're obviously a top NFL offense. So A.J. Dillon, especially in the best ball format, love getting him here at 208. 209, we see Bryan Edwards go off the board. Don't know really what to think about it. Bryan Edwards was a metric darling. A lot of people in the analytical community love him. But if you look closely, most of his targets came in the screen game. This kind of reminds me of a Paris Campbell. So I think it's going to be a little bit harder for Bryan Edwards to transition to the NFL, but he does land in a perfect spot to do so with Henry Ruggs and Tyrell Williams stretching the field. Maybe Hunter Renfrow still gets the slot duties, but Bryan Edwards actually has a lot more team investment into him than Hunter Renfrow does. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he wins that job outright. Now, at the 210, we see Zack Mosque off the board. Not going to lie, do not like the pick whatsoever. I think there are about 5 other players I would have preferred here. Zack Mosque is a very low ceiling prospect. And what's hilarious is I made that pre-draft NFL video saying, hey, I'm a lot lower on Zack Mosque than anybody else. I'm never going to draft him in a rookie draft just because he doesn't have a ceiling to be an RB1. And someone left in the comments, how are you going to say that Zack Mosque doesn't have the ceiling because of his athleticism when we see Devin Singletary do what he did his rookie year? And I didn't bother replying just because, I mean, if I reply to everything, I'm just going to be losing my mind all day. I don't have the time for that. I can only reply to people through Patreon. But if I was going to reply, my reply is Zack Moss. Yeah, he has the ceiling of Devin Singletary. But at the same time, I've been telling y'all, I hate Devin Singletary too. Devin Singletary has a ceiling of a mid RB2. He's undersized. He's not athletic. He's in an offense where Josh Allen's going to vulture a lot of touchdowns. So what are we really doing here with Zack Moss and Devin Singletary? I'm completely avoiding. I'm going to let someone else go out and get them. If anything, I'm going to load up on Josh Allen because I think he's going to be the player getting the rushing touchdowns there in Buffalo. Now at the 211, I'm up again and love the value that falls here. Chase Claypool, 211. I mean, this is the guy that you want. You want Chase Claypool. Pittsburgh has been historically great at evaluating these wide receivers and developing them at the NFL level. Chase Claypool falls into a situation where I know a lot of people love Deontay Johnson, but Claypool's a different kind of player than Deontay Johnson. So I think that Claypool, this investment of a second-round pick from Pittsburgh, shows that they have a role for him. And maybe we can see James Washington completely phased out, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, always on the field together, and Deontay Johnson is going to be replaced as that wide receiver 2 in Pittsburgh. Now at the 212, Antonio Gibson. Really don't know what to think about Gibson. I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people said this was horrible for Bryce Love, but at the same time, Washington is a team, and I know what they've said about the running back position. I think they're just going to use him as a gadget player. He's not going to be a full-time running back. He's not going to be a full-time wide receiver. And in fantasy, that's not something I'm too excited for, especially when it's in an offense that's as poor as Washington. Now at the 301, fantastic value here. Jordan Love, first-round NFL draft quarterback. I understand, yes, he lands behind Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he's most likely not going to be starting for the foreseeable future. But in a Superflex league, to get him here at the 301, if he takes over a starting job of any kind within the next 2 years, you're automatically going to be able to flip Jordan Love for a first-round pick. I can guarantee that. I know I've heard some people mention the Paxton Lynch comparison, where Paxton Lynch was selected at the end of the first round by the Denver Broncos, and he never really got a shot early, never really got his shot at all. I think that's a little bit different with Jordan Love, just because we're not going to expect him to get an opportunity. So even when he doesn't his rookie or sophomore year, his value is not going to lower, just because, I mean, you can't blame him for not beating out Aaron Rodgers. So while Green Bay, we don't know what their exact plans are, but trading up to get Jordan Love in the first round indicates that this is a player that we should be willing to put on our taxi squads in Dynasty. Now, at the 302, we see KJ Hamler go off the board. KJ Hamler, actually, I take him here. And the reason is strictly this is a best ball pick. KJ Hamler was selected in the second round by the Denver Broncos. And I believe that he's a player similar to a Henry Ruggs, where he's going to help your NFL team a lot more than he's going to help your fantasy team. He's going to be a guy that's going to be able to stretch the field for the Denver Broncos. They don't plan on getting him a lot of targets. They don't plan on looking his way very often. But when they do, it's going to result in big plays, and he's going to make life easier for Jerry Jeudy and for Courtland Sutton. Now, at the 303, my man, Devin Duvernay. And if y'all don't know about him, a little quick story. I love him. Okay, obviously I go to UT. I've worked out in the rec next to him countless times. I've seen this man I don't know how many times. So 100% biased here, going to put that out there. But at the 303, I love the pick. We see the Ravens go out there and get him in the third round. Obviously, Baltimore is a very smart organization. They know what they're doing, and if they're taking him here, I think they have a plan for him. They're going to be able to use his speed. They're going to be able to use his solid hands. And a little story with him is what's concerning is he was completely off the radar before this last season. I mean, I go to UT, I didn't even know who the man was, but he was one of the Baylor commits. And if y'all remember, Baylor had that massive scandal, so he had to transfer to Texas last minute. And I think this can be the explanation for why he took so long to come on. And also, if you don't know about Texas, we had little Jordan Humphrey, who's currently on the New Orleans Saints practice squad. He may be on the active roster right now. I'm not quite sure. But he played a very similar role to Devin Duvernay, where Colin Johnson played a completely different role. So Devin was kind of off the field into this last season, but he puts up one in college football's best seasons at the wide receiver position. A lot to like there. Now, I'm here at the 304. Similar to the Jordan Love pick, I'm going Jalen Hurts here. I'm loading up on Jalen Hurts in every single Superflex league. I can get him in the third round. Fantastic value. Just because if he ever finds himself in a starting opportunity, he's going to be a quarterback one for fantasy with what he can do on the ground, what he can do with his legs, and we know that produces fantasy points. 305, Cole Kmet. Decent value. I don't necessarily think I would have gone here. I'm going to speed up through these last couple rounds. We have 4 rounds fully, but we don't need to talk about every pick in depth. Now, 306, Darrington Evans. Darrington Evans is a player that has a lot of hype. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. Anthony McFarland, the 307. Antonio Gandy Golding, the 308. Tyler Johnson, the 309. I'm going to say real quick, do not like the Tyler Johnson pick. I would have rather gone a multitude of different ways. Now, at the 310, Van Jefferson. the 311, Joshua Kelly. 312, fantastic pick here. And keep in mind, this is actually a rookie and a veteran draft. So any player that's available in the free agent pool, you can pick up. And the 312, we see Chris Herndon go off the board. And obviously, this is not a rookie. This is a player who is going into his third year at the NFL level. And that's exactly what you want. This is just a good lesson. If you have one of these late picks, you're going to find a lot more upside and you're going to find a lot higher floor if you go out and invest in one of these current NFL veterans that have their value a little bit dipped. Now, the 401, Lynn Bowden. The 402, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Let me go back to Lynn Bowden, whatever you want to say. I actually really like that pick. I mean, to see the Raiders go out there and invest in kind of a hybrid player in the third round, if you can get him in the fourth round of a rookie draft, I mean, that's hilarious. That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be able to go out there with your fourth round rookie pick and invest in a round 3 NFL wide receiver. Now, at the 403, Adam Troutman. Don't really like it. I think that Adam Troutman's upside is very limited, and I would have much rather seen a running back pick here or even a wide receiver. Now, at the 404, Rob Gronkowski. I don't think that he would have gone this late if people really understood that you could have taken veterans. I don't understand how they didn't realize that when Chris Herndon went at the 312. But Gronk, I mean, way valuable than any of these late-round rookies. 405, Deejay Dallas. Good pick here. I think he's very similar to someone they already have on the roster in Travis Homer. But 405, you cannot go wrong with investing in a backup running back on an elite NFL offense when the running backs in front of him have injury histories. 406, Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason is completely off my board. I mean, to go that late in the NFL draft, if you're going to hit at the quarterback position, you're going to be a complete outlier, and I don't really like investing in you. I'd much rather just trade the pick. Now, at the 407, you say Devin, I don't know how to say his last name. The New England Patriots tight end. Another thing here, I would have much rather gone with an upside running back like what we saw with the next two picks, LaMichael Pirine and Eno Benjamin. I think those are two fantastic picks. 410, Gabriel Davis. 411, rounded up with two veterans, Devonta Freeman, Carlos Hyde. Devonta Freeman, unbelievable value there. I mean, none of these rookies are worth more than him. But guys, really hope you all enjoyed this video. Really hope you all got something from it. And as always, go join that Discord chat. That's where you're going to find all these draft boards. That's where you're going to really improve as a Dynasty player. And that's the best resource that you can use. But thanks, guys, and have a great day.